Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining me. Today we're going to talk about a MSNBC YouTube video and kind of talk about the issues with it, the flaws that we find with the reporting style, and how essentially MSNBC, as well as Fox, CNN, OAN, whatever news network, essentially uses propaganda and sensationalism and populism to sell ad revenue, or to make ad revenue, I should say. My stance is very independent. I believe a lot of things conservative, believe a lot of things liberal. I'm definitely in the middle, and I also try not to make my views known. Sometimes I'm probably going to talk about how I feel because sometimes, as you guys know, if you've seen any videos in the past, these videos get pretty wild with what constitutes quality reporting nowadays. So if I do kind of let my own ideology slip, I apologize. I don't mean to. This entire YouTube channel is just to talk about what's wrong with news networks and to point out the flaws and the tactics they're using to push an ideology on their viewers. So with that, let's jump into the MSNBC video right here. I think it's Rachel Maddow. And of course, I blind react to these. I kind of break them down in the moment, just so I don't have any kind of preconceived notions coming into it, other than the fact that, what news networks do across the board, everybody, what is ridiculous. That's my only preconceived notion that I bring into it, is that they're all terrible. Republicans in at least 3 states filed forged elector letters. Okay, let's jump into it.
In addition to meeting to describe themselves as the electors from the state of Wisconsin, even though they weren't, we subsequently learned that this group of Republicans in a state that Biden won, they put pen to paper. They not only declared that day that they were the real electors, and they were electors for Trump, they actually drew up forged documents in which they tried to impersonate real electors. They purported to be the actual electors from the state of Wisconsin. And they apparently sent them in to the National Archives and to the Congress as if they were the real electors. So we reported on that last month, just before Christmas.
So far, just really kind of setting up Republicans that they filed forged, election letters. So far, nothing I'm seeing that's kind of setting off red flags, but sometimes MSNBC and CNN, they kind of, not that they're the same. They're definitely different networks, but they, they kind of weave a longer trajectory. So we definitely want to see how it wraps up at the end to kind of get the entire view of what they're trying to push.
And on the still live question in Wisconsin as to whether or not any of those 10 Republicans who signed their names to those forged documents names to this document. Open question before the state election board, potentially before the Milwaukee County District Attorney. So that's what we reported right before Christmas in Wisconsin. But now look at this.
Okay, here we go.
Politico reporter Nicholas Wu had the really good idea to file public records.
All right, so January 6th panel ramps up investigation into Trump's state-level pressure.
Requests in multiple states, asking to see what officials in those states had handed over to the January 6th investigation. Look at these documents here. Turns out it wasn't just Wisconsin. On the left side of your screen, these are the similar forged documents from Republicans in Michigan, purporting to be the electors from the state of Michigan.
So far, I actually don't have anything wrong with this. This seems to be a story that is worthy of news reporting. It seems to be a story that is not overly sensationalized. You don't see any crazy graphics or hear any crazy music that is trying to, push you in a direction or make you feel fearful or agitated or angry or whatever about the subject before they talk about it. It actually seems to be kind of clean, which I'm pleasantly surprised by. We'll see if it keeps up, but so far, I'm actually okay with this. I think it's the first video, left or right, that I've seen, left or right of the aisle, political aisle, that I've seen that hasn't triggered me in the first 5 seconds. Let's keep watching.
Casting their votes for Trump, even though Michigan voted for Biden. On the right side, Republicans in Arizona, again, purporting to be the real electors from the state of Arizona, casting their votes for Trump. Now, in both instances,
I want to go back
we
actually
dug
to
up
that
in
part.
Wisconsin. In both instances, these really are forgeries.
Okay.
If you're a state that Trump lost and Biden won, the
Okay.
electors from your state are electors for Biden. But nevertheless, in both these instances, here's Republicans in Michigan for Trump. With these forgeries in Wisconsin, in Michigan, it looks exactly the same. In these Michigan documents, it looks
Okay.
exactly like the
Seems to
forgery
just kind of be a lot of the same right now. I do want to skip ahead just a little bit because, you know, I hope not. I hope this is the first video on this channel where we actually see a clean video of reporting that is not, you know, trying to make grandiose leaps of faith, ideological leaps of faith to make you, you know, believe that a general group is terrible. Like all Trump supporters are terrible or all Republicans are terrible. You know, I haven't seen that yet. So far, it's just reporting on this actual video. So I'm actually pleasantly surprised, but I just want to make sure that that is the case. It's kind of a boring video. Fake electors try to deliver Arizona's 11 votes for Trump. So it looks like it's, you know, a failed attempt. And I really just want to get to the bottom of what the thesis is. The thesis statement, if you will. Okay. Okay. Crucially, this was not just... Okay, all right. Now we're getting to... We've reported, right? She did report. Rachel Maddow did report, actually. You know, I'm proud to say that. Nothing I saw in there that was really kind of iffy, but let's jump into the feelings, right? That kind of thing. That gets viewers, that gets people engaged with the videos, but at the same time, doesn't really fall into what news should be covering. So let's see. So it looks like we're going to get into that in a second.
And again, crucially, this was not just play acting. They were not apparently just drawing these things up to have like a little bureaucratic Christmas
legitimate,
pageant in
is what you're saying,
where they could pretend Trump really won. And wouldn't that be fun to play dress up and act it out? I mean,
okay. I mean, obviously, kind of making light of it, making a joke that like this isn't a joke. She's making a joke to say that this wasn't a joke, which, you know, again, I wish it was just kind of more boring. You know, straight. Hey, here are the facts. We're done. But you know, it's really not that much of an issue to say, you know, this is a real thing. Like, let's take this seriously. This is a serious issue.
Actually sent these forged documents into the government.
Okay.
Purporting to be real. They sent them to the Congress. They sent them to the National Archives.
Okay.
Nicholas Wu reports today at Politico.com that part of the reason we know that is that the National Archives last December forwarded the Arizona forgeries to the Secretary of State in Arizona, quote, for your awareness. The National Archives making clear they were not planning to act on these forged documents.
So I will say the only thing is that her tone,
Secretary of State
her tone in this video is, you know, kind of like, you know, it's an entertainer tone, right? And I guess I wouldn't be a realist if I suggested that she shouldn't do that. She should just talk monotone. But sometimes, you know, these kinds of tonal things are going to help you feel a certain way. So it's not really bad reporting. It's just not maybe
don't know if they're facing calls
just
for their
facts,
prosecution,
right?
the way their neighboring Republicans are in Wisconsin, right next door, where they tried the exact same stunt, apparently using the exact same language, the exact same font and formatting. How come these forged documents look exactly the same between your two states? Was somebody organizing this forgery effort among Republicans in multiple states?
Okay. Now we're taking a leap of faith here, right? So now we're kind of setting the groundwork, setting the foundation, if you will, for a you know, like a political coup, essentially. Let's see if that's where she's going. That's my hypothesis, but let's see. I want to give her obviously the benefit of the doubt and listen to the rest of the video.
To send in
So let's just go back and hear that again.
How come these forged documents look exactly the same between your two states? Was somebody organizing this forgery effort among Republicans in multiple states?
That's what we would call leading the witness in the legal world, which I am not a part of.
To send in false slates of electors as if they were real? Because now we've got a hold of the forged documents they created in not one, not two, but 3 different states. Who believes we'll find more where this came from?
Okay. Again, she hasn't made the jump yet. It feels like she's made the foundation of like, hey, here's what's really happening, right? And that kind of sensationalism that we see a lot in reporting. She's just kind of being joking about it, which, you know, I would prefer not to have that, but as far as all the videos I've reviewed so far about news, this is the best one. I would say this is reporting. This is actually reporting. And I have no necessary love for Rachel Maddow. I don't know a lot about her. I do know that there was when we had, a long time ago, years ago, a couple, maybe even 3 years ago, we had the Trump tax returns. You know, I remember that being kind of a big nothing burger that Rachel Maddow really, really pushed. Like, this was the big realization moment that we're gonna break this huge story. And I hated that. That was a total publicity marketing stunt. Just so that I don't have this video be totally patting her on the back, which I shouldn't say that. In this case, so far, there's still a couple seconds left. Rachel Maddow has done a great job reporting. But I just want to illustrate the fact that I'm not like a Rachel Maddow supporter. You know, this is just, this video in particular doesn't represent her whole body of work, definitely doesn't represent MSNBC's whole body of work. So far, it's okay.
Raise your hand.
Wow, that's it. Okay, you know what? Rachel Maddow gets kudos from me. You know, it's not perfect. You know, there is still some sensationalism that is making this not news. But I gotta kind of give her credit. That just seemed like an actual story. There weren't crazy graphics like we've seen CNN do. There wasn't crazy generalizations that we've seen Fox do. There wasn't, you know, flat out name calling and leading of the narrative. Besides maybe a little bit at the end there, like we've seen OAN do. Wow. Okay. Now, just to even this out, I have to find a bad MSNBC video. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. If there's something in here that you feel that I misrepresented out of this video and there is an issue that you'd like to discuss, let me know in the comments down below. Other than that, let me know if there are any video ideas you have for me to review, any reporters who you think you'd like to see me kind of break down the issues I have with them, and overall talk about the marketing of news that we see, unfortunately, all the time, and kind of talk about that and what your newscaster isn't telling you. Well, thank you guys so much for watching, and have a good one.